Okay, welcome everybody to session 3, Rotarians on the Rise. These are the 3 topics that we're going to talk about tonight. And I have 2 people with me, Barb Quackenbush and Joe Pemberton, who are also going to be presenters. So we're gonna start with Barb in just a moment, and I'm gonna let them tell you a little bit about them before they go into their content. You received an email from me with a couple of videos to pre-watch and some questions to think about. I hope you had an opportunity to watch them. If you didn't, it's not crucial, but it does give some context before we start going into the content. So that's why we wanted you to watch those. We kind of talked about it ahead of time and thought that would be a great kind of precursor to what we're talking about. We've used these AHA slides in the past. So I am going to show you how to do this. I'm not sure if you can see me right now. If you can, I'm showing you my cell phone. And if you would take, this is an interactive session today. So if you would take your cell phone, turn on your camera, if you have a smartphone, turn on your camera and hold it up to that QR code. You should get something that drops down and it'll say open in Chrome or open in Safari. And if you just tap it, it'll take you right to where you'll see the actual slide. If you don't have a smartphone, yes.
Dana?
I don't think the QR code is showing on the slide.
Right.
Oh, well, bummer.
Right now, it's just still the blue page, and it says on my screen, this meeting is being recorded.
Well, that is a huge bummer. Okay, I see it on mine, so I'm not sure why. Let me try one more thing. Do you see it now?
It's like we're not getting the full slide, Dana. It's not like it's like full. Like we're only getting a part of the slide.
Maybe
you need to expand your window.
Better or worse?
Better.
Yeah, that's better. That's big. So go back. Yeah, there you go. Now there it is.
Awesome. Okay. So I'm going to give you a moment to take a picture of the QR code. Again, it'll drop down from the top. Just tap it and it'll take you right to the slide. Don't enter anything yet. Trying to get you to this right QR code. I jumped ahead, so don't enter anything yet. If you don't have a smartphone and you want to just open a browser window, you can type in the address of ahaslides.com/engaging. You see it up there at the top. Who needs more time? Okay, so if you pulled it up on your phone right now, you should be seeing this slide, Rotarians on the Rise Week 3. Anybody need more time? Okay, we're going to talk about getting to know your team members, creating an engaging environment, and emotional intelligence. So we're going to get to know each other a little bit. We're going to do some breakouts, and exchange some ideas, and then we'll tell you what's coming in week 4, session 4. So Barb, I'm going to turn it over to you to open us up with getting to know your people.
It would be beneficial if I unmuted myself. Thank you so much, Dana. And it's so nice to see everybody. Happy to be here. If you were on early, I was in a bit of a panic today because earlier this week, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to help and facilitate as I originally said, but some work items came up, but they were resolved quickly yesterday. So I'm happy to be here. As Dana shared just a quick bit about myself, Barbara Quackenbush, I'm a Director of Certified Personnel. So I work with hiring teachers in Newark City schools. So when I saw the email from Dana to Joe and myself and the content, I was happy with all of the content areas, but most especially, I was super happy to be able to stick getting to know your people, because I think not only in, we want to relate this to what you do on a daily basis. So it's not just Rotary, but everything that we're talking about and that you're reflecting on can help you learn and grow in your profession as well. So I know for me, getting to know my people is critical. And when I am doing recruitment and doing job interviewing for new staff, one of my key pieces that I always look for, that I want to be able to find in a new teacher for Newark City Schools, I need to know that the person that I am bringing in and recommending to our building principals is going to be able to have a relationship and build that relationship and understanding of our students, because our students are the most critical piece of what we do every day. And so with that, Dana gave us a lot of information, and I'm hoping I can really kind of condense this into the few minutes. But when I was reviewing everything, there were some keywords that I wanted to point to kind of share with all of you. I don't like reading to people, but I'm going to read. And while I'm reading, I want you to think of some keywords, and I'm going to highlight some that I think are critical as well. Getting to know your people. At the heart of developing people, you get to know people. Consider the following: strengths. Maximizing your team's talent starts with understanding strengths. Interest. You need to know what people are interested in so you can grow and develop them. Values. If you don't know how to motivate your team members or your staff or your Rotary Club or your Rotary board, it could be challenging when you are trying to get a project completed, or when you're trying to move your Rotary Club forward to, whether it's fundraising, whether it's a project, a special project, whether you're planning something. So when I saw this first paragraph, I did my highlighting and I wrote down for my own notes keywords. Hopefully some of these keywords you'll find important to you that you can reflect on as well. Developing. I think developing is a critical word with everything. Know your people. More than one word, but knowing and understanding. Kind of condense that one. Again, grow and develop. When you know what your people, what their strengths are and what they're interested in, you are able to tap into those strengths to really help empower those, whether it's in my mind, a staff member. I can work that way with my students. I can help our board and our Rotarians each week at our meetings to really understand our why, and to make sure that we're all, and you've heard me share this before, but that our arrows are moving all in the same direction. So all of this can be combined with the other key piece of listening. And I think we read a lot and we see a lot about the importance of listening. And are we listening to answer, or are we listening to understand? And I think about that almost every day when I'm reflecting on what I'm doing and who I'm talking with and how that's going on a daily basis, as well as in my work with Rotary. Because sometimes all we need to do is just listen. And if we listen, that's going to help the situation in a more positive, to have a more positive outcome than the alternative. Dana, I'm looking at you. I can't remember. I didn't ask if you were letting us know our 6 minutes, or if I can go on to the breakout group.
You can go for about 1 more minute.
Okay, great. Thank you. I forgot to double check with you on that.
Okay.
So, you know, and we've all been together for a few weeks now. So, you know, one of my all-time favorite words is reflection. And so I'm hoping that with getting to know your people, that some of the things that we're going to do today and tonight, I should say, when you're reflecting on that will be able to help you and to motivate you as a leader to really work with those, whether it's a colleague, whether it's you know, a Rotarian, whether it's just a friends group, that you're really able to work to get to know your Rotary team and everybody that you come in contact with. One of the other things that's important that I think I'm sure we all do on a daily basis, but just don't maybe remember it, is to, if we notice, Price Finley did this with me 2 weeks ago. We had a Zoom, and I know Price is on this Zoom, and I said, Price, man, I'm gonna have to darken my screen. I haven't eaten lunch yet. The back of my head is throbbing, and I feel a little dizzy. And Price said, Barb, I don't want to continue right now. I think you need to go to the emergency room. Now, Price knows this is not typical Barb behavior to kind of say, man, I've got a headache, I'm dizzy, I'm this, that, and the other. And I said, Price, I'm fine. We'll kind of keep going and we'll see how we do. We're fine. And I made it through. But, you know, you have to know your people. You have to know what's normal. What's a normal Barb? What's an abnormal Barb? Should we just stop where we're at to say, are you okay? You know, how can I help you? Is there something that I can do? I did refuse to go to the ER, Price. But, you know, how can I help you get through this? And sometimes those conversations are more important and more valuable than the actual reason that you wanted to talk with that Rotarian or staff member, colleague, even a student. You know, we notice our kids when they walk in the door, if they're not normal, we're asking questions. So, so hopefully a little bit of this can all, you know, we will combine all of this together for all of you. And at the end of the night, you'll have some good ideas and some good strategies to think about when you're working with everybody.
Are you ready to break out?
I'm not liking this chat, Dana. I don't know if everybody. I love Price and Sherry on here. Sherry's one of my, Sherry knows this because we talk a lot, and she's one of my go-to people with when I am in a spot, I know I can call Sherry and she will listen in a trusting manner. But yes, let's go ahead and go to breakout room. So in your breakout room, Dana shared 3 questions in your email, and I will share them with you again, which these are fantastic questions. The first one, what's inspiring you right now? What's inspiring you right now? The second question, if you had no restrictions, how would you like to spend your time? No restrictions, what would you do? Third question, what new experiences would you like to have in the upcoming year? So question 1, what's inspiring you? If you had no restrictions. Question 2, how would you spend your time? Question 3, what new experiences would you like to have in the upcoming year? So we're going to put you into your breakout rooms. I want to make sure. And then you're going, let's see, choose one of these questions and talk about that question when you go into your breakout room with others. We will have 10 minutes. So make sure you allow enough time for everybody. So 10 minutes to kind of talk and share. Dana, anything else that I forgot?
Just Barb and Joe, when you see a pop-up, do not accept, but everybody else should be seeing a pop-up and it'll take you into your breakout rooms. And we'll see you in 10 minutes.
Thanks, everybody.
Steve, I saw that you have to go early. That's okay. Thank you for coming early. Steve, do you see a pop-up?
You're muted, Governor.
Dana, should I say later where it says the host is inviting you, or just click out of it?
Just out of it.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So group 1 has 3.
Breakout room. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't see me.
You know, I don't see you either.
I see.
It's because it doesn't say Steve. It doesn't say Steve. That's why.
I see you, Governor. It says Rotary District 6690.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
But I
Oh,
don't
good.
know
We're
if you-
right on time. It's 5:17.
You love it when that happens?
I don't see it on mine.
Yeah, I was worried. I'm sorry, I forgot to ask because I know last time you were like, I'll time you. And then I thought, oh my
I
gosh.
guess I
you know
could,
me,
I guess
talk
I could
forever.
join whichever, I guess I
Well-
could join whichever one I want. I'll
Is it
join
giving-
5.
Is it giving you an option? If it
I
is-
think I could join any of them.
Okay, if it is giving you an option, join 5. Thank you. Because I don't see
Okay.
anything with your name on it. I know
Yep.
it's not your name.
Bye, Governor.
Look at Steve.
There we
getting-
go.
getting all Zoom
All right.
savvy. Fun.
Good stuff, Barb.
Oh,
Very
thank
good.
you, Joe.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
the
you.
personal
you.
story. Love the personal
Pleasure to
story.
be with you both.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here. So honored. So
Have you guys met before?
we have
Likewise.
not.
No. I've
Oh.
heard great things, Barb, but
Oh.
this is the first time. So
Ah.
thank you. Pleasure. Pleasure.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And you know
Hey,
what?
quick-
So I'll tell you, Joe, our other partner is usually Gary Saltis, and we love Gary
Okay.
too, but I think this is going to be a good dynamic.
I think
trio
so too. I think so too. I
Awesome.
need to do the little
Yes. Me
heart. I
too.
know.
Me too. Me too. Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
Dana, I'm sorry, quick question. I need to double check because I'm looking at, so when they come out, are we having them share anything or are we just going into you? I just am looking at, and I could have
Why
missed
don't you
it.
just ask, let's just take 2 people. Does anybody want to share anything? that
Share
you
out,
found
okay.
fascinating?
And then we'll just do 2 quick share outs and then go to Dana.
Right.
Right, okay, great.
And then, so Joe, I'm going to answer your question, but I need to go back to the slides. So bear with me.
Okay.
We've got some time, which is good since, oh, I'm still recording.
Everybody. Here we go. Thanks, Dana and Joe. We had a great talk. Hopefully each of you had a good, productive, reflective conversations in your breakout room. And just, we'll have just a couple people, if you're comfortable sharing out quickly. If you would like to share out what's inspiring you right now, if you had no restrictions, how would you like to spend your time, or what new experiences would you like to have this coming year? If you would like to share something, please unmute yourself and feel free to share.
Okay, well, I said that if I had unlimited time, I would walk the North Country Trail from one end to another, which is over 4,000 miles.
Wow.
Less than a dozen people have done that in 1 year. So most people in Ohio don't even know that the North Country Trail goes through Ohio as the middle of it. So
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, Liz. Anybody else? Anybody else want to share?
Something I thought was really cute was, as those of us talked about unlimited time, we all threw in and finances. Unlimited finances had a whole lot to do with it,
That
no
makes
matter
it
what
much
it was.
I understand that. I understand that. So, well, great. Well, hopefully it was your breakout room was was impactful for you and very reflective for you. So we're going to switch this and transition to Dana, who will lead us in our next experience.
Okay, thank you, Barb. So everybody, you had an email that had 2 videos. One was the boat video, and then the other one was EI. Can I just see maybe in chat, just say yes if you had an opportunity to watch videos, and say no if you did not. So Cody says yes, yes, yes.
So if I type no, Dana, that's going to look bad it's going to reflect badly on me, isn't it?
MJ, it's okay, because I watched a video, but I'm like, oh, Dana, was it the Simon Sinek video? She went, no, so I only watched half.
It's okay. This is a no judgment zone, you all. So don't worry. I know people are busy and have a million things to do. So that's why I said it's less than 10 minutes. So at least then you could say, oh, I can do 10 minutes, at 4 o'clock or whatever. But not to worry. It was just to provide you with some context while we were talking about these couple of topics. So I'm going to go back to our slides, and hopefully you still can see your AHA slides on your phone or on in your browser, wherever you pulled it up. Is everybody seeing something that says creating an engaging environment? Betty Matters, Barry Waymiller. I see a green thumb. Good. I see Barb's thumb. Yes. Okay. So on this slide, we're not going to enter, but on the next slide we are. So I just want to give you that heads up. But I want to tell you about creating an engaging environment. It has several components, and you saw that in the boat video. If you did not get an opportunity to watch the boat video, just watch it some other time when you have a few minutes. It's maybe like 3 or 4 minutes, and it talks about engaging environments. And in the boat, there was a certain percentage of people that are highly engaged, and they are super pedaling. And I got to put my timer on. They're paddling really hard. They're directing the boat. They're coaching the people behind them. They're looking out for rocks. So they're your high performers. Then you have the people in the middle of the boat, and they're kind of helping and they're riding along. They're not hurting, but they're not super performers. And then you have the people in the back of the boat who are sinking your boat. They're drilling a hole. They're paddling the wrong way. They're the people who are embezzling, not coming to work. They're toxic employees. They're making trouble, right? So in any given team, that's a good representation of what a team looks like. You always have those couple of people who are super high performers. And I wanted to tell you about Barry Waymiller. There's a book called Everybody Matters. It's my favorite book. Barry Waymiller is my favorite company, and Bob Chapman is the author of the book and the CEO, and he's my favorite CEO. So if you love this kind of stuff, this is a great read. And Barry Waymiller they measure the positive impact that they make on the lives of their people. It's one of their metrics, like profit, expenses, compliance, the positive impact we make on the lives of our people. And they have mechanisms built in of how they measure that. We don't have time to go into all of it today, but that's why I say if you love this kind of stuff, you'll love this book. And one of the things that I love so much about this company is because of the way that they've created this engaging environment, because the CEO has shown great vulnerability. They build wonderful relationships. This is really embedded in everything they do. They have a super engaged workforce. And if you remember back in 2008, 2009, when the economy got a little rocky, Barry Waymiller was doing fine until they make big machinery, like big equipment. So they have large capital costs and stuff like that. And in one of their divisions, they lost their primary customer. So the senior leader over that division went to the other C-suite employees and the CEO and said, our customer went bankrupt. They're not ordering any more of these machines. We're going to have to lay off 200 people. And Bob Chapman, the CEO, said, no, we can't lay off those 200 people. We need to take a step back and say, what would we do if we were in a family right now and something happened to our family and we had to come together and figure out a way to make it work? We would make it work. So cut to, again, it's a long story, but I love this about this company. Cut to, they figured out a way to make it work. And one of the components of this was to have every employee go for 6 weeks without pay. Some households had dual income household people, and some households had single income household people. And some of the people in the dual income households went to other people in single income households and said, I'll take 8 weeks, so you only have to take 4 weeks. That's an incredible environment. Those are the kind of coworkers that I would want to have, and probably you'd want to have too. But because of this environment they've created, that's just what people defaulted to. It's like, we're not going to let our people down. So how can you create these kinds of things? And these are just some ideas about how you can create a great environment. Think about that in your club too. So
Dana?
Yes?
Dana, could you just give the phrase that Bob Chapman says when he talks about the people, how he thinks about the people?
Yes. Every employee,
Yeah,
every employee is someone's precious child. And every one of us, all of us are somebody's precious child. Our parents think of us in that way. So that was one of the triggers for him that really caused him to start thinking about his employees as someone's precious child, and he should never take anybody for granted or never treat them as though they were part of this big family. Thank you for that, Steve. Steve is a Bob Chapman fan as well. Okay, here's where I want you to participate. In your AHA slides, you have an opportunity to input. Hopefully you're seeing that. Let me know if you are or are not. I'm not seeing anything appear on this slide.
Yeah, I see it.
So getting to know your people. So I see my boss's ability to understand and engage. Your best boss, what made them special? That person was measured, they listened, they cared more about what you could do for them. They cared more about what you could do for them. They were invested in who I was and what was going on in my life. Listen.
Yeah, that was a typo.
So Joe, tell us what you were.
They cared. They didn't care more about what you could do for them. They cared more about, who you were.
Yeah, who you were. Yeah. I knew where you were going with that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wanting to
You're
know
welcome.
me as a person, and they cared about me outside of work. Yeah. They knew my personality. Awesome. So best bosses, they create this kind of an engaging environment. What about this one? What's the best recognition you ever received? Really good environments take the opportunity and the time to recognize people's contributions, whether it's just a thank you, or maybe it's something that's a much bigger deal. Anything that you can think of on this one? Is everybody's slide working? Because mine is stuck on the old one. Yes, so it is working. Received a handwritten card. I appreciate when I'm thanked. The Rotary pin that Price gave me. Oh, that's nice. Women of Achievement Award. Yeah, so good recognition. My board nominated me for Executive of the Year. Received honors in clinical excellence. Awesome. Simple acknowledgement of the effort I made. Sometimes that's the nicest thing, and that's free, easy, and quick. But oftentimes we get busy and we forget to stop and thank people. Somebody made a donation in my honor. Yeah, that's very nice too. The Drum Beater Award at a company-wide recognition ceremony, which I had no idea I was getting. Nice. Having my staff acknowledge me. These are all great ideas. And so think about those in your work environment or in your club, if there are things that you can do just to show recognition and appreciation for people's hard work. It's an important part of creating an engaging environment. There are a lot of components, but this is a big one because people want to feel appreciated and valued and recognized. Thank you for sharing all of that. Okay, so I'm going to pass it over to Joe. Don't forget to tell everybody who you are and a little bit about you too.
Perfect. Outstanding. Thank you, Dana. I sincerely appreciate that. Our topic right now is emotional intelligence. And, we're in Zoom right now, so you often wonder, how can you gauge emotional intelligence when you can't really gauge that body language? So this might be the one that we're missing. I'll give you an example. Does this group like that? I don't know. I can't tell. Maybe some people do, maybe some people don't. Maybe some people are watching me and wondering, this guy's in a room by himself. Why does he have a mask around his neck? Why does he have a scarf there on the rack, a Rotary scarf, when it's mid-May? I don't know. You're trying to pick up on that body language. So emotional intelligence. It's really about whether or not you can spot it, how you take it in, and then how you react to it. i.e., we talk about self-awareness. Dana's got the slides up there. Self-regulation, motivation, empathy, social skills. When you think about self-awareness, I would ask yourself, are you skeptical of what you're feeling in your gut? That immediate instinct, that gut instinct, what do you feel? And kind of how are you digesting that? That goes into your self-regulation. are you managing that? How are you managing that gut reaction? What motivates you? What's spurring you to, what's your drive? When you think about your empathy, can you put yourself in someone else's shoes? As you're watching what they're feeling, whatever cues they're giving you, can you relate to that? Can you identify to that? Also, too, you look at your social skills. How are you able to take that and put it into motion? How are you taking everything that you've just identified, you've processed, and now you're trying to work with? How are you using that as a tool in your tool belt? And I really do wonder with this particular topic, even though Zoom and WebEx and Microsoft Teams and other platforms, Skype, et cetera, have been very efficient and effective for us. We don't have the same commute time going from meeting to meeting, but are we losing this? Are we losing this emotional intelligence because we're only seeing people on Zoom? I can't tell right now what you're thinking. I often ask myself, what would Price do? And I'm scrolling through here, taking time, trying to find Price's face. I see him smiling, but now I'm missing out by having to scroll through this on what others are feeling. Usually when you're in a group setting, you know, you can kind of pick up on what that body language is. Those different cues give you a feel for it. Some experts say that emotional intelligence is right up there with IQ. So, I mean, there's a lot of value that's placed with emotional intelligence. I would just say on a personal note, I've seen this thing go all across the board. Two examples that really jumped out at me were council meetings outside of Central Ohio, where in one, I saw a mayor just being bombarded by not only fellow council members, but by people that came to the council meeting, residents, probably people even outside of this community that were just like almost to the point of physically attacking him with how loud and ruckus this particular exchange got to be. So, and I'm sure we've all been in different council meetings and other settings where it does become a bit of a ruckus. And the mayor started to get a little bit hostile back, and that almost seemed to inflame the crowd more. And before you know it, it ended up being a disbursement, and the thing was adjourned, and no one got anywhere on that particular meeting. Now, I saw another council meeting. This wasn't with the mayor. This was actually with an attorney. I'm not speaking on Price, but shout out to attorneys, Price Finley, my spirit and life coach. I would just throw this out there, that the attorney was being bombarded with all kinds of questions and a lot of hostility. And the attorney just went into just locked in focus mode, and just each and every single individual there was able to look them straight in the eye and address their specific question. It was almost like they didn't flinch. Like, no matter how hostile or how loud the interrogation was, they were just in their zone, cool as a cucumber, as if it didn't matter what the level or volume or hostility of the inquiry of the question was. And it was like they were just practicing it, just throwing a baseball back and forth, just playing catch, and just going, not really showing a whole lot of emotion. Very, very measured. And I think being able to pick up on whatever, and that's an extreme example, but being able to pick up on whatever setting you're in, whatever environment that is, whomever you're interacting with, getting a feel for where they're coming from, what's motivating them, what appears to be their triggers, and finding a way to find some common grounds, finding a way to take that in, manage it, and then how are you going to respond? How are you going to relate back to them? And the ability to empathize and to show that you're able to empathize, and they're knowing that you feel where they're coming from, I think that goes a long way. So being able to pick up on those cues, it's big. It's very, very big. I kind of think of emotional intelligence as a blending of thinking and feeling. And then what do you do with that? You take it in, and how do you react with it? So that's kind of where that stands with that. Dana, how are we looking on time? Hello, Dana.
You're perfect.
Okay.
Yep. So shall I move to the next slide?
Please. Thank you. All right, moving into this exercise, we'd like, if you could, now we're going to be moving into where individuals can do this separately. And then when they come out of session, we can kind of ask them, if there's a couple of volunteers, how they responded to this. Right, Dana?
Yeah, they'll go into breakouts. Yeah.
Perfect.
So just like before, and we'll have you pick one of these scenarios. So when you get together, somebody could have picked one, somebody else might have picked 2, 3, and 4. but you're going to have just maybe about 10 minutes. And so, pick one if you can to kind of start with, and then you can go on to other scenarios if you'd like.
Can I add one item? That attorney that was Cool Calm Collective got the contract signed. That was a very hostile environment, and they signed on the dotted lines. That's how that finished. Whereas the other one where they all got aggressive and there was just shouting and yelling, that ended in the disbursement of the meeting. So what's the end result? And just in life, we're all trying to get things across the finish line. So this really is about helping you, helping others, helping you, coming together.
Yeah. So, and in these scenarios, you are in a leadership role in some form, whether it's, at work or a committee or something like that. And so someone in the group is doing one of these things. So what if they withdraw from the group? What if they just even kind of turn around, and aren't paying attention to what's happening? So what would you do? That's how you're practicing tapping into the emotional intelligence, and then how do you respond to it in the best possible way? Okay. So everybody have an opportunity to pick one in their mind? If you need more time, let me know. Hearing no objections, I'm going to stop sharing. So I'm going to give you just one more minute. Okay. We're going to send you to breakouts. And we're going to recreate the rooms, okay? So you have a chance to talk to some other people. So we'll send you to breakouts. You'll have 10 minutes, and then we'll come back just like we did before. Anything else, Joe, that you want to add before they go?
Thank you, Dana. Please enjoy, be engaged. We're helping each other.
There they go. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. I think we have just about everyone back right now. Our goal is for you to enjoy these, for all of us to enjoy these breakout sessions. So I hope that was the case. I would just ask this: do we have any volunteers that are willing to share a little bit about what they learned, what they were able to share in their breakout session? Any volunteers, please? This is a safe space. This is the circle of trust.
Absolutely.
I love that circle of trust.
Yes.
Joe, I'm like from
Michael, thank you.
You're welcome. So one of the things that we talked about was how it's very important to bring somebody that's exhibiting some of these behaviors back to the task at hand. So making sure that they understand the reason why you're in that meeting, the reason why you're engaged as a group, and maybe they're not feeling it that day, and maybe it's good to just call a break right then and let everybody kind of disperse, and then pull that person aside and say, hey, this thing I just observed, if it's something inappropriate, you got to address that pretty quickly. If it's something, hey, I noticed you're silent today, you might get them to re-engage. Or if you just note that they're still not connecting, maybe you just say, hey, maybe it's better if you're not here today. Why don't you step out of the meeting, and we'll actually, we'll come back to you, and you and I can have a conversation later. So that way you can be more engaged the next time, or maybe we can catch you up later.
Thank you, Michael. That's so true. So often things end up escalating or going sideways because we're not staying aware of our surroundings, focused on that interaction, whatever that engagement is, whatever that goal is. It's something else outside. And if we can step outside of that and realize that, hey, right now we need to be here, present, aware, we've got a much better shot. That's great. That's great stuff. Anyone else willing to share, please?
This is Craig. I'll share.
Hello, Craig.
Hi there.
Thank you.
Hi there. Nice to meet you, Joe. I'm on number 3 here, and talks about people texting during a meeting. I think within the format of Zoom, all electronic communication is probably fair game. It's obvious that people in Zooms are typing and texting and running their mouse and all of that. It's obvious people are doing that. I'd like to think that some of that, if not all of that, actually pertains to why we're all Zooming in the first place. So people are looking up things that they can share with the group, and often they do. It's really obvious that they're doing those things, but at the same time, I think that my assumption is that they're on task, or I choose to believe that they're on task most of the time.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Craig.
Sure.
Anything else that anyone would like to share? I know that we're good on time, I believe, right now, Dana. We're coming up on the top of the hour.
Yep.
We've still got another 15. Anything else for the good of the order? I guess I'm just very appreciative of the engagement. So thank you. And I'm glad this has been worthwhile.
Yeah.
Dana?
Thank you. Okay. So hopefully this is showing up now on your phone or on your browser. What will you do differently? So as a result of just what we shared in this last 1 hour, or if you watched the videos before, you had some other stuff, will you do anything differently than you would have done before you learned this? If you need me to bring back the QR code, let me know.
When it says enter a word, do you mean literally a word or just?
Yes. So enter a word. Somebody said, ask more questions. Yeah. Could be a phrase. Ask questions, focus, not make assumptions. That's a good one. Assume positive intent. I love that. I don't know who said that, but I learned that in a course once, and I often use that. Assume a positive intent when someone said something. Don't immediately go, what do they mean by that? Learn and be curious, empathize. Put myself in.
I put that one up there, Dana, because it's something I'm working on.
You're working on assuming positive intent.
Yes, always assuming, always first assuming positive intent. It's a part of my work.
Thanks for sharing that, Price. Did you read that somewhere? How did that come to you?
I think it's come up in some of the readings I've had over the years. Yeah, just a mindset.
Yeah. Don't take it personally. That can be a hard one sometimes too. Ask questions, learn and be curious. Okay, all good stuff. It's hard for us sometimes to kind of take a step back and, I'm going to say to assume a positive intent, but to not take something personally, not react, get to know people and think about how all this stuff. So remember what Barb's piece when we first started off, getting to know people, the more you know about them and the more you take time to invest in creating a great environment, you're going to have things go a lot more smoothly than they would otherwise. If you've ever walked into a meeting where it was just kind of, a cold open and somebody started talking without doing introductions or knowing, who are the other people in the room, because people aren't going to talk if they don't know who all is around. And to use Joe's earlier, this is a safe place. In some cases, they may not feel that. So how can you create that safe place for everybody? Okay, thank you guys so much. We cranked through. We did a great job. This was a lot of content in a very short time. So I'm going to stop sharing and just ask for the group. Is there anything anybody wants to talk about or share based on this, or any experiences that you've had where somebody really did create a great environment, or where they did empathize with you in a particular situation that made a difference at work?
Dana, can I throw one thing out there going back to that last slide?
Yes.
A quote that I found to be helpful is I've heard, see others as you would like to see them, not necessarily as you see them, but as you would like to see them. That whole concept is we all talk about manifestation and how we kind of lock in on what we want things to manifest to be. See others as you would like to see them. And before you know it, maybe you don't even have a good dialogue with someone, but you start seeing them in a good space. If you put that in your head, who knows what that evolves to. So seeing others as you would like to see them, not necessarily as you see them.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Michael, I'm putting my email address in here because I've got a little document that I'm going to send you. That's good for just exactly what you said you're trying to do, just getting to know people. It's a list of questions, and not every question is going to apply for each person, and they will differ based on your relationship with them, just how comfortable you are, but you can kind of pick and choose which ones work for that situation. I do not have a survey created. 2 weeks ago, I did. You guys were awesome. I dropped it in the chat and you filled it out right away. The last one I had to email, we didn't get as many responses, but I will be emailing you a survey. We would love to hear what, like for this particular portion, what did you like? What did you not like? What else should be in the Rotarians on the Rise content? That kind of stuff. Anything you can want to share, we would appreciate hearing.
Hey, Dana, while we have one quick second, I like Joe's thought about leaving on a quote. And one of the quotes, and it's not necessarily a quote, but that's one of the things, and Sherry knows this well, and so does Aaron Prescott. I see Aaron with the baby. And just from our Rotary time together during my presidential time, I always tried to find a quote that that I could make a connection to. And I was hoping that the rest of our club could make a connection with that as well. So one of the, and Sherry and Aaron know this, I'm on Twitter. I mean, that's the only thing I'm on. I'm not on anything else, but I do enjoy Twitter every once in a while. So I follow Tim Kite, T-I-M, Tim, and Kite is K-I-G-H-T. And one of the quotes I remember using at the end of our Rotary meeting for quote of the week was a quote by Tim Kite. This is not the actual mindset, the thought of his, but it still gets you the same thing. And he says there's a big difference. Responding equals intentionality. Response equals intentional. React equals impulsive. And so I think with this, it kind of goes with Joe's talked about, what Dana's talked about getting to know people. When you respond, you are intentional with your response and with your answer and how you are thinking about that. If you react, which a lot of us do, I reacted earlier today. It was fine, but I caught myself and I thought, Barbara, just zip it. And I did. And but that is more of that impulsive thought or something that's going to come out of that you're going to share that may be more of an impulse versus something that you really are intentional about responding to when you're talking with a group or a one-on-one person. So I just wanted to share that little opportunity to leave everybody with a quote as well. So another thought. So
yeah,
I like that, Barbara.
Mm-hmm. And I know we didn't talk about this in great depth, but just that people are very different and lead complicated lives, and we know that because we lead complicated lives. So just think about the ups and downs in your life and in your work life. And sometimes when you come to work, you're not in your best frame of mind, and so people come to work when they have sick parents at home, or they have a sick kid or a kid that's being bullied, and maybe they have financial problems, whatever it might be. So if you as the leader can be even a resource or just somebody to listen or whatever, that will give them that psychologically safe place and a safe place to land and feel good about coming to work and knowing that somebody cares about you. It's a hard one sometimes, especially when people ask questions that you don't know how to answer. But sometimes you don't really need to answer, but you do need to be a good listener.
It's really good.
Okay.
I heard Tim Kite give a presentation about a year and a half ago to a corporate retreat, and he had this great formula of what is it? Event plus response equals outcome. And the point of it was that you really can't control the event, but you can control your response, and that's going to determine the outcome. I really like that. It was simple, and it's something that it's true, has that advantage. And it's something you can kind of take and work on.
I agree 100%, Price. I have that E plus R equals O as well. And yeah, I think that's great. That should be your theme for when you're during your
Life coaching.
presidential year. Not to get rid of MJ already, but we're just in that process. But
We lost MJ already and Steve.
New Albany Schools uses that as their thing everywhere. It's on the kids' lanyards, and they tell the kids, own your R.
That's
You
awesome.
Nice.
Own your R.
I love it.
You can't control the other two, but you can control your R, so own it. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks,
Love
Dawn.
that.
Really good.
And Erin, thanks for bringing your baby. So cute.
Growing up.
Anything else, anybody, before we head out? I hope you enjoyed your breakouts. We know we get good feedback on breakouts all the time, so it's a good chance for you to meet people from other clubs. So thank you, everyone. Barb and
Make it a great
Joe.
night.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody. Enjoy.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Thanks
you.
especially
Thank
to our
you.
presenters, the
Good to see-
incomparable Barbara Quackenbush
Oh, shush.
and the undeniable Joe Pemberton.